Well, I'm back on site, and I've done a lot actually. This is probably day 3 that I've done stuff and not actually filmed it because there's so many little things I wanted to do that didn't really seem like I should film this. And today I'm trying to get it's off camera, out of frame right now, but I've got rafters that are going over the dining area, and then ceiling joist, and then blocking I'm trying to do, and what am I trying to say? The rafter tails. And so I'm gonna work on that right now. You're gonna see some stuff that you haven't seen before. I didn't film it, I just wanted to do it, but surprise, I added a pantry. And so I was thinking about the cabinetry I was gonna build, and it seemed like it might be easier just to add on. And plus it solved another problem that I was concerned about, and that was I hate refrigerators sticking way out into a room. And I'll show you more details about that later. It looks kind of funny because I've got, I just added this little bump out kind of the way I did the dining nook, if you remember that. And I'm not really sure how it's going to be laid out. So I've just got one continuous header over the whole opening, whole room. And eventually that will be, you know, I'll frame it out according to where the fridge goes and where the door goes. And so I'm going to set you up, or I'm going to show you the detail on how I'm laying out these rafters over this back side of the house. It's very similar to what I've done kind of with the front porch, but let me show you that right now. So here is that would be the bathroom straight in front of the door, and then there's the kitchen. This is the kitchen. It's hard to get a frame reference. Right where that window is will be a sink, and then it'll be a dishwasher, and then the refrigerator. Let me show you what I've done here. So last time you saw this, that wall was just solid all the way up until you got to the dining nook. See the header over it? There's the window. Now it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. But what I did is I just opened all that up and extended it out, added another pier, and just built in this pantry. And what I'm going to do is we'll put framing, you know, somewhere in there to frame out the door that'll be right here. And then I'm going to leave it open so that I can slide the refrigerator back as far as I can. And I'm not sure. I'm going to measure and see what that needs to look like. But it might be, I might fur out the whole wall, or I might just leave it open and put drywall up so that it can back up into it. I'm not really sure yet, but that's what I'm working on. And so I've got all the rafters in, I've got blocking in the front. I've been working on this back row here, and I'm using some more of this oak, true to form. And I just recently set up, I got a string line that tells me where these are going to land. And so right now I've got one right here, but I'm just sanding the end of it that's going to be, you know, outside the building so that it's nice and clean and ready for stain or paint. I haven't decided yet. And put lines on it so I know where it lands. And then I've got my string line ran here. I've got the beginning one and toward the end as far as I can go for now. I'm going to lay these out. So I'm going to put you on time lapse. You'll see me just put all this up, and then we'll talk about what's next. I got all the rafters up. Got hardware on them. And now I'm going to go ahead and add in the ceiling joist and the blocking. And so for the ceiling joist, I'm going to use 2x4s because it's not a long enough span to do anything. And I'm hoping that'll correct a few little things I've got. You can see that one. I don't know how far you can tell, but it's got quite a bit of gap on it. And I don't really like that, but this lumber is all pretty rough sawn, you know. There's some of it was up to like a half an inch different, just a few of them. But I've got hurricane hardware, hurricane straps, whatever they're holding it up. Should be good. So now I'm going to do that. I'm going to put you on time lapse, I guess, and just put up a bunch of ceiling joist. And I think the span on this is like right under 5 feet. If you're worried about it, it's not holding any load, so it should be just fine. Today I'm working on putting up all of, well, I wish all, but as many as I can of the beams. All these are decorative, so it's really just a matter of getting them secure. There are a few things to think about and consider. I have dried some of these. I don't have a kiln, but I have like kind of an attic and a fan, and I've had some that have been drying for a while now, but they're not like ready to make cabinets out of, that kind of thing. And they're 4x4s. Some of them are a little bit bigger than that. So they're going to expand and contract. And so what I'm going to do is do my best to keep them tight at the peaks, because that's where you see it. And then what will be on the drywall side of things, on the low side. So the high side, I'm going to screw them together as good as I can, make everything tight there. And then the low side is just kind of, we'll let it do what it's doing. So it has, as long as it has a place to move, it should be pretty good. So I'm going to make them pretty tight, knowing they're going to shrink with time. And I'm hoping that I can keep them tight at the top and just shrink the bottom in. By the time I'm ready to caulk and paint, hopefully this place will be leveled out in terms of temperature and humidity and all that stuff. And so that's the plan. I've already put up several of them because I was formulating a plan on how to do this and I didn't want to be fumbling around in front of you. But right now I'm going to show you what I've put up so far and get into how I'm doing this. I started with these because there's only one end that has to be right and tight up there where I'm pointing out of focus with my finger. I'll get a little close. It's hard to see right now, this time of day. It's just running wild up there. And then down here, I cut the angle in. And so this will be, you know, obviously there'll be a layer of drywall around it. And I'm making them tight because I know they're going to shrink a little bit. And then these other ones, I don't have one up yet, but it'll set tight against that. I'll screw it in there. I put some glue on it too, just to keep it going. Same thing over here. I started with these just to kind of get going. And so far I've been working on these next. And this proved to be a little bit harder. I'm not really sure why. But that joint right there is not as tight as I'd like for it to be, but I'm going to do better in the future. I just cut this one and put it in place. And now I'm going to start. I got 2 more on this side, or 4 more total in this bedroom. So I'm going to set up and work on that right now. The first thing I've done is just get up here on the ladder after I figure out where I'm doing what I'm doing, and use this angle gauge to set the angle. And then size up the beam. And like you can see on this one, I've got pencil marks to face it. That's the worst side. That's the side I don't want to see. And so I'll end up transferring my line to there. And then what I did earlier is I took 2 pieces of lumber to build kind of a template to make sure I like the fit of it, because the 2x4, it's a little bit smaller, but it's close enough that I'll go off the top corner on each side of the top. And then I put both those up there, clamp them together, screw them together, and make a sort of template out of it. And I've just been cutting new angles on each one, and they've been pretty consistent, but I want it to fit pretty tight. So file this under things that are incredibly tedious, because this is about the most tedious thing I've done in the framing side of this so far, but I'm about to put another beam in the middle of this room where it's going to have 3 on each side, 6 total. So I'll set you up and you'll see me do that. I'm running out of daylight, so I'm going to just show you kind of the details of it, and then move on, get as much as I can done. So I put these slats on that one because it falls in between the rafters. I'm not super happy with that. It's hard to tell, but there's just barely some daylight. You see that? So what I'm going to do is I got to get some longer, like pergola kind of bolts. The ones I had just kept breaking. They're cheapy. Let me see, where's one? There they are. This is like by the pound hardware. I'm going to have to bite the bullet and buy some nice strong stuff to get this to suck together like I want. So in the meantime, I've just got it screwed up there, but that's kind of the idea. It's not too bad of a joint. I just know that over time it's going to stretch, and so I want to do my best to make it as straight as possible. But that's what I'm gonna close, or I'm gonna stop recording this and just kind of show you what I've got right now. I use clamps. I think you can probably see on the video. I got my belt sander. I'm sanding out all the rough stuff and the bark. There's quite a bit of bark on these, and that's intentional because I want them to look kind of rustic, as you can see that. Almost hand hewn, not quite. That's the look I'm going for. So that's what I decided to do. I picked stuff and milled it in such a way that there was wane on it. This one's actually pretty clean, but even it's pretty rustic, kind of wavy. You can't hardly see right now, so I'm going to stop filming.